What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Magic Hour. I'm Curt.
I'm Paul.
And today we're covering The Gentleman by Guy Ritchie. So we're going to just jump into it.
We're going to be all style and no substance today.
Absolutely.
Just like the movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's Guy Ritchie, though, man. You go into these movies expecting a lot of style, a lot of no substance, just pretty much a crime story. A lot of criminals screwing each other over, right? That's what you come to expect from a film. And
that's what he does well.
This movie is very well in that category. I thought he did superbly with as far as expectations go. Mm-hmm. I got exactly what I wanted out of a Guy Ritchie film. But so really, you can't really give us an argument from the substance viewpoint. You kind of have to judge it on the aesthetics.
Right.
What are aesthetics?
I mean, this thing is not going to win any Actors Guild awards. I mean, it's, it is what it is. But if you go into it knowing what it is, that it's a Guy Ritchie film and maybe one of his best ones.
Yeah.
You can really appreciate. I like the way that he puzzles his movies together, like he did with this one, where at first you don't have any idea what's going on.
Right.
And slowly, as it progresses, the puzzle starts putting itself together. And I really enjoyed that aspect. What did you think?
I really enjoyed, like I said, I enjoyed everything about it. I don't have any real complaints about it.
Wow.
I really don't. I mean, the only thing I would say, the premise of the movie is that Matthew McConaughey is a drug kingpin in England.
Right. Using
and he's
rich people's castles.
He's not playing a Englishman or he's not doing a British accent or anything. He's an American in England.
Southern American.
He has the most unusual story I've ever heard for a criminal. He's from Kentucky, I think.
Right.
He got accepted to Oxford.
Okay. It happens. It happens.
When does this happen? So okay, right out, this is the only thing I found. Kind of scratched my suspension of disbelief. And he went to Oxford, and he started selling all his upper class British stiffs. He started selling them the wacky tobacco.
Weed. Yep.
Yeah, and they go through this great sequence when he's describing how hard it is to hide a weed operation in England because there's so much surveillance.
Right.
There's people in the parks. There's people on public lands. There's drones. There's helicopters. There's planes. Because the whole premise of the movie is that he's trying to get out the business. He's been in it long enough. He knows if you stay, no gangster gets old.
Right.
So he wants to get out ahead of it. He's trying to sell it.
So he can settle down with his wife.
Right. She's Cockney.
And she's a firecracker.
Well, she's played by, her name is Rosalind. She's played by Michelle Dockery from Downton Abbey.
Right.
So it was kind of a shock for me to see her because she plays a very posh British person on Downton Abbey, the daughter of a earl.
Right.
And now she's got this Cockney accent, which she does very well.
She's a good actress.
Yeah, she's
obviously.
She was very hot. I've never seen her this hot because she's wearing the 6-inch heels.
Right. Yeah.
And man.
But she was hot and she was a strong woman. So that resonated well.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have to mention how much I enjoyed Hugh Grant and Charlie Hunnam's interactions together.
Because the story starts out, this story is actually being told from Hugh Grant's perspective.
And Hugh Grant is...
He's a private investigator working for a tabloid.
Right. Yeah, and the exchanges, I should have wrote some down, but where they worked well off of each other, and that was probably the most enjoyable part of the film for me. I like the story. I didn't think Matthew McConaughey was at his best in this, but I mean,
my wife.
It was kind of like that part was written for him. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The most outrageous part of the story was Matthew McConaughey and how he builds his weed empire. And it's like, I don't know if that's actually possible. It's kind of, I mean, maybe it is. I don't know.
Maybe it's based on a true story.
But my wife, getting back to the aesthetics part of it, he was the most ridiculous in his blue suits, loud blue suits, and he's got this oily hair. My wife says, "Why does Matthew McConaughey have a Jerry curl?"
Oh no!
She said this is actually a quote from her. She said he looked like shit in this movie.
Oh wow! Yeah, he wasn't at his best. But you know, other than it being a good movie, and the dialogue was good.
Yeah, it was very good. I heard that I saw a featurette that they did on the movie. They were talking about how they was rewriting the movie as they went along.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Well, what did you think of it overall?
Like I said, I love the movie. I mean, I definitely recommend people see it. You want me to give it a score already?
Well, I was just saying that I heard there was some controversy about online.
I usually don't read reviews before I go see a movie, but I came home and I was like, I was looking at a gaming site and Polygon, and for some reason they do movie reviews, which has nothing
to do with gaming.
Nothing to do with gaming, unless the movie is.
I think that gaming and entertainment industry is coming in.
But I mean, unless a movie is actually based on a game, I don't see why they're doing movie reviews.
Well, they shouldn't, according to this.
This person, her name is Karen Han. So I'm assuming it's an Asian writer. She blasted the movie for being racist.
Which I didn't see at all.
And I was like, and she does give some examples, but it's like, they totally went over my head when I watched the movie. I didn't, and I didn't really see them as racist. For one thing, okay, this is the thing about movies. You can't have all the characters be politically correct.
Life is not like that.
Right. Especially a movie about criminals. Criminals are racist. I'm sorry to say.
They don't follow the rules. That's why they're criminals.
To all my liberal friends out there, that's just how it is. Not everybody in the world is going to be politically correct, especially when they're criminals. That just doesn't not how it works, and it wouldn't be interesting either. I mean, I'm wondering how she felt about BlacKkKlansman. Have you seen that movie? I like the movie overall, but the white characters seem a little bit racist. The Ku Klux Klan I'm talking about. Yeah. It's a freaking movie about the Ku Klux Klan. They have to be racist. You're watching a movie about criminals, okay? Of course, her biggest criticism was the way they treated, because the bad guy in the movie is an Asian guy.
Right.
So I guess there was there was a joke about one of his henchmen named Fook, and I'll leave it to your imagination to figure out what kind of jokes they did with that name. But she did not. I guess she did not like that little joke they did about his name. But I was just like, really? This is the hill you choose to die on?
Yeah, and if you've ever been around a bunch of guys, that's exactly what they would do.
Right. It's exactly what these type of characters would joke about.
Yeah.
So, in fact, she says right here, they may be bad guys, but that doesn't excuse the racist jokes Richie levels at them.
Yeah.
As he introduces Dry Eye, that's the Asian bad guy, and then this guy he doesn't have a stereotypical Asian accent. He has a full-on British accent.
Right.
Okay. As he introduces Dry Eye, Fletcher refers to him as Chinese, Japanese, Pekingese version of James Bodge with a license to kill.
Oh Lord,
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't either.
And his cohorts are repeatedly referred to as Chinamen. They do call them Chinamen. But like I said, are you really telling me that you expect criminals to be politically correct when they refer to the Asian characters?
Only use their left spoon for soup, and although this is probably, I don't know, man. That's a tough one.
And then there was a joke with the black character in the movie was called a black C word. And she had a problem with that. I was like...
Well, I would just suggest to this writer...
I give up.
I would suggest to this writer, don't go watch Guy Ritchie movies.
I would suggest to her...
Don't go watch any movies.
Don't write... You're a writer. Don't ever write a screenplay, because that would be the most boring screenplay ever written. Because you're really telling us that you think that the criminals... Every character in this movie is a criminal. Every one of them.
Yep, every single one of them.
Even Hugh Grant's character, the private investigator, is a criminal.
Yeah, they're all shady.
They're all shady. You really expect me to believe that they would refer to every Asian person in the movie as their respective cultural... Well, it was Chinese.
Their gender assignment, and, you got to be careful because you'll offend somebody.
But yeah, I took. Oh my God! So anyway, that of course was ridiculous. Let's get back into the plot. The plot is he's trying to sell his business. He's hitting 12 different weed factories, I think he calls them, on the estates of people he knows. He met these people in college, many of them. And a lot of them ended up with these estates after their parents or grandparents or whatever died. And sometimes when you inherit stuff, you inherit one of these huge estates.
You can't afford it.
You can't afford it.
Right.
So his end was the fact that he got them to allow him to dig, I guess, these labs underground where he could grow weed.
Right, yeah.
Because this private land. My thing with that is I didn't know whether that was very feasible. I wasn't bothered by it per se, but if you want to poke holes at the plausibility of this movie, that would probably be the biggest one. How the heck would you go in and dig out these underground layers to build weed without nobody being wise to it? Even on a private estate. There will be some eyes.
Yeah, and the comings and goings and of an operation like that. The people, the distribution,
But I was willing to,
I guess if you paid off the local cops. And stuff,
I just didn't think that was very plausible, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, everybody, a lot of people have this back of their mind, like, could I be a drug dealer? Could I run an operation like that? Could I be a kingpin? Most people can't and wouldn't, but that's what they delve into, though. That's where they get into your psyche, and people are like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to go talk to my mother-in-law, see if I can dig out her basement.
Well, see, part of the problem with growing weed is that you need these lamps, especially the way he was doing it underground. You need lamps you need sunlight and
shit ton of power too.
Yeah,
that's one way that the cops here in the United States catch grow houses is they'll watch the power grid, and if they see a house that's just like
a shack in the middle of nowhere has
it's pulling I don't know the
$1,000 a month in electricity.
Yeah, and the house next door is like 25 a month. 25 watts a month or whatever it is. So. Yeah, that would be another.
But if you think about a state now, a big estate
probably pull a lot of power.
Will pull a lot of power. Maybe not as much power as
And if you're a real smart guy, you put a solar farm on the land for your
That's
house.
you know what I thought about that. I was like, what if he just got solar power, and they had a big solar farm out above the ground? That would work better than being on the grid. I don't know how feasible that is though.
I don't know.
But it was very interesting. I thought it was very creative the way he came up with the idea, and the way he specifically made it so Matthew McConaughey could be in this movie.
That's what I said. That role was written for him.
It would have been a lot easier if he just got a British guy who went to Oxford. I mean, why?
But Matthew McConaughey sells tickets.
Right. Exactly.
And he sold tickets to this. How did it do? Did you get the?
I think it's done very well, as far as I know.
It was a pain in the behind for me because it didn't show at my theater. I had to go to Regal and sit in those terrible seats. Work on your seats, Regal. You cut off the circulation of my legs and make my knees hurt. That sucks.
Let's see, the Gentleman box office. My theater didn't have that many showings as much as you would think. It has grossed, maybe not. It's saying 22 million. That's pretty good, though. I bet they didn't.
Well, for a limited release, I mean, it didn't release wide because it's only in select theaters.
I'm not sure what the budget was, though. But
it couldn't have been too. Well, I don't know. I guess it.
It couldn't have been that high.
I mean, not one that's full of like a bunch of CGI and all these exotic locations. That was not shot all over the place. So I don't know. I liked it. I would certainly recommend you going to watch it. I don't think it would be family friendly.
No, it's not.
It's not family friendly, but it's entertaining. And in all respect, this is one of Guy Ritchie's best.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
So I like to see him stretching his acting muscles because, he ran the risk of being typecast for sure. The bad boy. Bad boy biker.
Yeah.
He turned down the role of Christian Grey from the 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Although those movies made a lot of money.
But this thing was star-studded, wasn't it?
Yeah, it had a lot of...
That's probably where they spent most of their money. It was on the actors.
Yeah, probably. But no, I can't say that they had a huge budget because most of the... First of all, you got Hugh Grant's character Fletcher telling the story from this Charlie Hunnam's house. So you had a lot of scenes in that house. Then you had scenes mostly in like restaurants and stuff, people talking. And you had a few, it didn't have a huge amount of action scenes. What did you think about that? There's a scene where, we got to mention Colin Farrell in this movie.
Right.
I thought he was excellent.
He was excellent.
He played this character called Coach.
Coach, right.
And he's like, he owns like a local like MMA something type boxing ring / MMA type thing. And he trains all these inner city kids. And these inner city kids, they get the location of one of Matthew McConaughey's weed weed labs, and his one of his rivals wants to drive down the price of his business, so he sends these kids to kind of like rob this
thinking that he'll be able to, because him and Matthew McConaughey, Mickey, are negotiating this final sale so Mickey can get out.
Yeah. And
I think it was 120 million.
No, he was asking 400 million.
400 million. Okay. Yeah. And
but I think he ultimately offered him 130.
Right.
After he exposed, like he sends these guys, and you don't know who these guys are. They're driving around and they drive on this estate and then they go on the ground to this lab. They're like kids, And then this guy shows up that works for Mickey. And then another guy shows up. And then like 7 guys show up. And you're like, oh, these kids are screwed, right? Right?
Yeah.
And then they cut to something else. And then they cut back. These kids are kicking these guys' asses.
Yeah, because they're all MMA fighters.
Yeah, but you didn't know that going in. I like that. That was a great
That
scene.
was good. What a way to work in MMA into the movie. You know?
Yeah, I was like, these kids are, oh my God, all these heavies start walking in. And you're like, oh, they're screwed. And then they're just like, just bashing these guys and like throwing around and just
cutting flips.
Yeah, and they're recording it for YouTube or something. So I thought that was there was some well, I guess when I coming at is there was some inventive things in this movie, but at the same time I felt like as far as compared to his other movies, this was the most restrained, because like I said, with his movies it's style over substance, but I didn't feel like I didn't get a headache watching it. I didn't feel like he cut too much, because he tends to cut here, cut there, zoom over here, just doing all these crazy shots.
Like you're riding a roller coaster.
Yeah, and it's like it was very restrained. Okay. I felt. I mean, it was still a Guy Ritchie film, but I felt like I said, it felt kind of almost like what Martin Scorsese did with The Irishman, but because that movie, did you see that?
Oh yeah, that's all right.
That movie, we should have reviewed that.
I know. Why didn't we?
I don't know.
We suck.
But that movie was very restrained too, as far as the Martin Scorsese picture. I kind of thought it was kind of boring, actually. I'm just talking about The Irishman, not this movie. This movie was very, very entertaining.
Yeah, I felt The Irishman was a little forced. For lack of a better word.
Yeah, he did, and I thought he could have cut a lot. He could have cut probably about 20 minutes from that movie. It would have been okay. But let's not do it. We're starting to do a review of The Irishman.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what score would you give it?
I'd give it 4.5. I'd give it 4.5.
I like that, 4.5.
Because I'm going on the premise that I don't think I've ever scored anything a 5. Have I?
I don't know. I know I've given 5s.
I'm going on the premise that we just haven't seen a 5 yet.
Didn't we give Shazam a 5?
We might have. But I reserve it for very special movies.
Yeah.
And Shazam was a special movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I think 4.5 is about right.
So we appreciate you guys coming by and spending this time with us. I hope that we've answered questions and given you an idea of whether you want to go see it, which is yes, you want to go see it. And we really need you guys to comment and tell us what's coming out soon that you would like to see us review. Give us some comments on, just what you're thinking about this movie, and like and subscribe to the channel. You got anything else?
That's it.
All right, guys, we'll see you.
We will see you when we see you. Thanks for watching.